Lady G-Men taking a 60-48 win.
Hello and welcome to Brown County Rewind. I'm Brett Roller and here's the latest. Paul Weaver of the Mennonite Church in West Fork is helping to organize teams being sent to Haiti and planning rebuilding efforts. At least 4 medical teams have been sent to Port-au-Prince through Christian Aid Ministries. Weaver, who has been to Haiti on numerous occasions himself, is the assistant director for CAM, a nationally supported Mennonite mission. CAM has had teams on the ground in Haiti since 1991, working on various projects. While the 7.0 earthquake, which shook the poorest nation in the Western Hemisphere to the ground on January 12th, has been all over the news, there are many stories of devastation and hope that have not yet been heard. Weaver relayed several such stories from his teams in Titan Yen, a village 15 miles north of Port-au-Prince. CAM's buildings sustained minor damage and none of their workers were hurt. CAM operates the only medical clinic in the small village, and they were quickly overrun with people suffering from broken bones and cuts. As more people were pulled from the rubble, they continued to administer aid, and after several days, they began seeing people coming in who had not properly cleaned their wounds. Weaver said many survivors had maggots and gangrene in the wounds and will most likely lose their limbs as a result. The 4th CAM team arrives Monday, and Weaver said that they are now focusing their efforts in downtown Port-au-Prince as survivors continue to come in with injuries. He also said the international community will have a fully operational hospital set up soon. In the meantime, the CAM doctors, nurses, and paramedics are helping as many as they can, and those they can't are being sent to a temporary hospital. In other news, 4 area schools joined 266 public schools across the state in sending to Columbus paperwork expressing interest in the Race to the Top grant. The grant is part of the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act funds being given to schools as part of President Barack Obama's plan to bring the nation's schools up to date. The details of the grant have not been finalized, and that made several school districts hesitant to complete the paperwork. The Western Brown Teachers Union declined to sign the agreement, which required signatures from the union president, the superintendent, and the president of the school board. Eastern's lead grant writer, Janie Day, made the recommendation to her school not to apply because her initial cost analysis said meeting the requirements of the grant would cost more than the funds they would receive and would put additional stress on school faculty. Ripley Union Lewis Huntington District Superintendent Charles Burkholz said the state had not given the districts enough time to completely review the grant and make an informed decision, so they also declined to apply. Fayetteville, Perry, Georgetown, Bethel Tate, and Felicity each expressed interest in the grant. The next step in the process is to finalize the grant, then each school can either decide to apply or not to apply for the grant. The grants are competitive by district and by state because the federal government is making about $4 billion available, and they do not feel that spreading those funds to all 50 states would be productive. And here's Brian Peck with more news.
Thanks, Brett. A prayer service was held at Georgetown Church of Christ last Sunday for the victims in the recent devastating earthquake in Haiti. The service saw a praise band and a service offering prayer for those in need and for the volunteers and missionaries working to make conditions a little better. The service coincided with a large-scale youth ministry to provide food to Haitian families in partnership with the Life Point Ministries, Georgetown, Peebles, Bethlehem, and Winchester Church of Christ. The ministry was actually planned last summer, but recent events made the need greater than ever. Church youth helped make food for over 100,000 Haitians. In other news, a Georgetown firefighter is on a slow road to recovery following an accident while on scene at a vacant house fire on December 28th. Steve Gilliam, a career firefighter for Washington Township, took a wrong step while combating the fire and vanished into an 8 to 10 foot hole into the house's basement. Fire crews ceased fighting operation to pull Gilliam to safety. Gilliam is slowly recovering from a broken leg and a severely crushed foot and is expected to be off the job for at least 6 months. A benefit was held for Gilliam at the Eagles Hall last week. Also, Ripley Union Lewis Huntington High School Principal Todd Music has been placed on paid administrative leave by District Superintendent Charles Burkholz. While the district has declined to comment on incidents leading up to Music's suspension, since the matter has not been discussed by the Board of Education, a group of concerned parents and students gathered at Logan's Gap Campground outside Ripley to show their support for the principal. The Board of Education is expected to make a decision on music administrative leave at their next meeting on Wednesday, January 27th at 7 p.m. For upcoming news, the Chamber of Commerce Business Breakfast is set up for Monday, January 25th at the Eagles Hall in Georgetown. Doors open at 7 a.m. and breakfast will be served at 8 a.m. Alvin Norris from Adams Brown Community Action Planners will receive the Drucker Award, and Ripley Federal Savings Bank will receive the Lifetime Achievement Award. And now, here's sports editor Wade Linville with sports.
Thanks, Brian, and welcome to Wade's World of Sports. It's been an exciting week in high school hoops. On Saturday, the Georgetown Lady G-Men hosted Glenwood, and it was the Lady G-Men taking a 60-48 win. The Lady G-Men were back in action January 19th, cruising to a 35-24 win over Goshen, and on January 21st they dominated the Hardwood for a 55-27 victory over the Claremont Northeastern Lady Rockets. The Lady G-Men now hold an overall record of 12-1 and a 9-0 record in the Southern Buckeye Conference, staying on top in the National Division. The Eastern Lady Warriors hosted the Fayetteville Lady Rockets in Southern Hills League play Thursday night, and it was the Lady Warriors capturing a 51-46 win at home. The loss marked the Lady Rockets' third of the season. The Western Brown Lady Broncos had a great week on the court, claiming a 74-35 win over Batavia and returning for a 57-29 win over Blanchester to up their Southern Buckeye Conference record to 9-0. They remain on top in the SBC American Division. Rounding out this week's high school girls action was the Ripley Lady Jays taking on the West Union Lady Dragons at Ripley. The Lady Jays upped their overall record to 8-6 by claiming a 52-46 win. Ripley senior Whitney Plymesser led the way with 17 points, but felt the team play could have been better. Your team's had its share of ups and downs, of course, this season. How do you compare tonight's win to other games you've had?
We could have played better.
Ripley coach Chris Coleman was pleased to come away with a victory, but also was a bit disappointed in his team's performance.
I give a lot of credit to West Union. They came out. They went out hard. Hopefully it's play a little better next week against Lynchburg.
In high school boys hoops, the Georgetown G-Men sank late free throws to climb to a 54-52 win over the visiting Ripley Blue Jays. The G-Men returned to the court Wednesday night to suffer a 69-63 loss to Finneytown of Hamilton County. Georgetown senior Jess Chadwell shot for 23 points in the win over Ripley. He fired for 30 points and pulled down 15 rebounds in the bout against Finneytown. Led by 18 points from Ryan Shields, the Western Brown Broncos took a 63-55 win over the East Clinton Astros. The Fayetteville Perry Rockets suffered a 60-45 loss at Fairfield, while the Eastern Warriors managed a dominating 79-38 victory over the West Union Dragons. The Ripley Blue Jays will be holding their winter homecoming this Friday, January 22nd, and they'll be taking on the Fayetteville Rockets. Western Brown Wrestlers will host their Hammer and Anvil Invitational Saturday, January 23rd. And that does it for this week's Wade's World of Sports.